All right. I think we're good. Let me know if you could see and hear me. Having a little bit of tech issues there with YouTube. But if we're good to go, I would love to get going on our Thursday Office Hours Live. Good to see everybody here. Hey, Aaron, Kenny, Saluki Princess, Chris, and Leia. Awesome. Looks like we're good. Okay, that's awesome. Well, welcome to Office Hours Live, and also happy Valentine's Day for those of you who care. I had a nice morning. I took the morning off and spent it with my wife. We had a nice time. It's particularly cold right now. We, as everybody knows, North America is experiencing a polar vortex. Basically, that just means everything's really cold in northern America and Canada. So pretty cold is what it is. We have a hot tub, so it's always nice to do that. Anyway, so Office Hours Live, we're going to be answering some questions and letting you know a couple things as we usually do. I appreciate everybody coming, taking the time to watch and hang out. I am going to try my best to be respectfully brief. Usually these go about an hour, but I'd like to see if I can keep this one specifically to a half an hour, mainly because I'd like to take the day off a little bit early and get to my family. And also I have other work that I'd like to do in that pertains to freelancing freedom. And that benefits you. So unless we have a lot of really great questions and we need to take up a little bit more time, then that works too. But here we are. So I'm going to jump in and answer the couple questions that were submitted previously to us going live. And we're going to get started. So this one's from Aaron. So when it comes to pricing your services, I have been charging based on the project. By compiling all the roles I will be playing and adding a more than enough hourly rate to each role. But in a recent video I watched on pricing from a YouTube channel called The Future without an E, I learned about charging for a workstation. Have you ever charged for such a thing, like a studio cost or something similar? And what are your thoughts on that? Honestly, I haven't heard of that. I mean, possibly I've heard of the concept before, but not in that way. So possibly, maybe you could clarify what that means. Obviously, I haven't really heard about it, but I'm sure it's not some groundbreaking concept that one couldn't understand with a basic explanation. While I'm waiting for you to maybe explain that, Aaron, because we do have a little bit of a delay, pricing, there's no hard and fast rule. I know in certain industries and stuff, there are regulations and there are stipulations and guidelines. If you're a part of a community or group, or say chiropractors, for example, they are required to price in certain ways and have to go within certain frameworks. But as consultants and freelancers and in your specific area of branding and building websites and such, pricing is up to you. And however you do it, and however you present it and package it and ice it is totally up to you. So like overhead studio costs, charging for a workstation, it really is up to you. I mean, that sounds like an agency sort of pricing model. Accounting for contingency. I mean, I know when I've priced projects in the past, I just, in some cases, I might have put a line item that just said contingency, but the clients usually see that as, oh, is that you just trying to get extra money out of me? So I just inflate the cost to ensure in the background, I go, okay, this is how much my monthly credit card bill is. This is how much my rent bill is if you're renting a space. And this is how much my time costs to do this. This is the profit I want on top of it. This is contingency because I know that this is going to take 50% longer than I think it is, and especially that the client thinks it is going to take. And so I just add contingency and extra space within that so that I feel comfortable if something happens that's a little bit extra, or is going to take me a little extra time, or something goes awry or wires get crossed. I know that in my price, I've accounted for that. So it sounds like, yeah, contingency. I haven't heard of it be called charging for a workstation. That's more of an internal descriptor terminology for you to, if that's the way you want to explain it. But really all it is just accounting for contingency, for unknowns, and to make sure that you allow for the costs within your pricing. A lot of people are saying, a lot of web designers and consultants and freelancers are eager to charge really low because they're worried the client's going to run away. But people get it. People know that things cost money, and especially if you are presenting yourself as valuable. I know at the beginning it's difficult. You're really just trying to get some experience and get a client under your belt. So pricing low and competitively is usually the best strategy in that case. But as you grow, specifically Aaron, in your case, and as you grow to a more experienced consultant, eventually moving into a stage 2 freelancer where you're going full time, you're pricing based on how valuable you are, and also taking into account, as you said, Aaron, the costs it takes to stay in business. The client isn't just buying your commodity service. The client is purchasing everything that you and your company comes with. So you have to, let's just imagine that you have a staff. You have a team of 2, including on top of that yourself. So you have a developer, a designer, or maybe you're the designer, you have a developer, and you have an assistant. So there's a team of 3. You have to pay those people to do work for you and to help you complete projects. You also have credit card bills. You also have health insurance, and monthly expenses. You have rent costs. Maybe you've dedicated a room in your house, or you're renting a co-working space or a dedicated office space. Those come into cost. And let's say that your monthly expense to just simply exist as a business is $1,000 a month. Let's say it's that, just to keep the number simple. Well, that should be accounted in the cost of your project. Studio costs, running the business costs, or running a workstation, as you found out at this YouTube channel. So you have to take that into consideration. Lawyers do that. Grocery stores, small markets, when they sell a product, they inflate the price so that there's profit. And the profit isn't just so they can go, ha ha ha, I'm so greedy, profit, 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 so much capitalism everywhere. It's so that you can run your business and have enough profit on top to feed your family, live comfortably, keep your business afloat, reinvest back into your business, reinvest into your employees, your staff, your team members, and your customers and your products. So you actually have to have that in there. It's not because you're like a greedy capitalist or some stupid stuff like that. It's that you can reinvest in yourself, your business, your products and your services, your customers. So of course, don't feel bad about pricing high. If you price high and some of your clients go away, then those clients might not have been for you. I know that's a real broad and real simple explanation, but I'd rather, when I pay for something, here's a good way of putting it. Nathan Barry posted on his blog, a recent blog post, where he talked about pricing in the software as a service industry. But the concept that he was really talking about was the price that you pay and the value that you get. So if the value that you get is much more than the price that you pay, you would actually be willing to pay more than what you currently pay, because you have what Nathan calls a customer surplus, or a value surplus. So if you're paying $100 a month for a service that enables you to make $1,000 a month, meaning you use a software that's a lifeblood of your business, or you use Photoshop or Sketch or something like that directly enables you to make revenue as a business, you would pay a lot more for that service. If it only cost you $100 a month, but it made you $1,000 a month, if they upped their price to $500 a month, it's still making you money. You'd still probably want to pay that. Whereas if you pay for something that costs you $1,000, but you believe the value is only $500, then obviously that surplus is in a deficit. It's not a surplus, it's a deficit. It's a value deficit, and it's not going to be worth paying for. So when you start out, new consultants and freelancers typically don't lead with, I'm valuable. They lead with, please hire me. And so already the client feels like they're doing you a favor. The value that they get, they don't even see it because you're not projecting any value. You're just providing a commodity service, which is not valuable at all. It's basic. And so they want to pay the basic lowest price. But when you're valuable, you got to take into consideration everything that allows you to be valuable. The software you purchase, the people you pay, the costs that for you to run a business, to educate yourself, to pay for your healthcare, pay for your food, feed your family, pay for your house, your mortgage, and this, that, and the other thing. That's what the client is paying for in addition to your service and your product. Because that's not all they're buying. Because if you didn't have the monthly expenses, if you didn't have any of these things, you wouldn't have a business, and therefore you wouldn't be able to provide the service. So they have to pay for more than just the commodity service. They're paying for everything that comes with it that enables you to be valuable. They're paying for your experience and much more. Mary Jo says, yes, I just told my friend who said I should have a price sheet so people can pick and choose. I was like, nope, I'm not a commodity. Yeah, I'm not at a grocery store where I can price match and then give you a coupon and then say your competitor charges 5 cents less. I want you to beat that and save me 10% on top of that. No, thanks. Elea says, I'm stealing that. Lead with, I'm valuable, and not please hire me. Exactly. Perfect. Colin, don't you think that the really non-technical aspects of web development are just going to be automated in the near future? I don't know. Sure. But I'm here to teach you about starting a business. Business owners, entrepreneurs specifically, will always adapt. And web development, for some of the freelancers here, some of the entrepreneurs here, use web development as a tool to solve a problem for their client. So if web development changes, the entrepreneur is above that. They're not floating in that, and then it changes, and then the carpet's ripped out and under them, and all of a sudden their lifeblood or their revenue is gone. The entrepreneur sits above that and goes, oh, web development's changing. How can I utilize that in my business? We're using new software now. Oh, there's a new language. Oh, we're not worrying about that type of thing anymore. All right, well, let's take that into consideration as I solve my client's problem. So the really non-technical aspects of web development, I don't know. I mean, the people who are creating these awesome and brilliant and groundbreaking and controversial softwares that have web developers lose jobs. That's just the free market. That's just them seeing a problem and going, clients don't like having to pick and choose a bunch of web developers scratching to get to the top and saying, please hire me. I'll just develop something and make something that solves the problem for this segment of people. And if that means that there are some web developers who don't get jobs in that field anymore, then that's just progress. So I'm not here to say what are the programming languages I should learn? What are the softwares? How is web development going to change in 5 years? I don't know. But what I do know is, as an entrepreneur and as a freelancer and as somebody who coaches and teaches people how to start businesses, many of whom happen to be in that technical field of web development and web design, building sites, I'm telling you to elevate above it. Instead of being like an employee and wondering what skills you should grasp onto next to claw your way to the top, I'm asking you to elevate above that, adopt the mindset of an entrepreneur, and use that as simply a tool to solve your client's problem. Colin, Leah says, Colin, think of early web development industry pre-2005. As much as we have advanced, we still have not gotten rid of developers or actual people. That's the thing. When it comes to getting hired as an employee, a web developer employee, then things will change, and they'll no longer want to hire people who build in this certain way or code in this certain language. As things progress, you need a different set of skills now than you did 5 years ago, and you will in 10 years from now, just as you always will in fast-paced technological world. But as new products and services and software is introduced that might replace certain aspects of what people do, you're still going to need people. Maybe you won't need certain web developers anymore. Maybe some really smart entrepreneur will develop something that will eliminate a certain type of web developer job. But that shouldn't be your problem if you are an entrepreneur, if you are running a business. So there's a lot on that. I can see some conversation here happening. I want to try and address a couple things. Alea says, I believe with advancement comes more opportunities for building businesses. Exactly. So as you solve a problem, more problems might get introduced. Say Google Maps, for example. When Google Maps was introduced, people went, oh no, what about us normal map people who looked at normal maps? We're like, well, now we have better maps, okay? So figure out how to get on this bandwagon here, because this is the future. This is how things are going. This is a better map. But then people missed normal maps. I'm just making this, maybe this isn't the case, but then there are people who go, no, but I really want a nice tactile map that I can hold. So that created an opportunity for people to make nice, handheld, high quality printed maps. Or Google Maps solved a big problem. Maps are archaic and so annoying and dangerous when you're on the road. And probably were the cause of a lot of divorces on road trips. Google Maps is way better. But it also means that now there are more companies and software and people who've built apps on top of Google Maps using their API to create something amazing that you would have never imagined when you created Google Maps. So maybe when Wix or Weebly or Squarespace or any of the builders that seemingly replaced the low-level commodity web developer, okay, sure, great. Now you put the power in the hands of the consumer. That's actually a really good thing. But you go, oh no, but I want to be the one that builds the $200 website. And you're like, well, sorry, now somebody can do it themselves. And you shouldn't be charging $200. If that's what it was you're providing, it was a commodity, and eventually it was going to be replaced by something better anyway. Sorry, that's how it works. Now, if you're talking about a site that actually generates revenue, a site that needs to be intelligently designed by an actual human, and you're talking in a high value price range, no matter what that is, you're going to need a person for that. Now, say a software replaces an aspect of that. Okay, well then what other problems does that present? If you're an entrepreneur, you see that and you see the changing and shifting landscape and you adapt with it versus playing in that pool and then getting wiped out in market progress. Let's see. More comments. Lots of comments here. Okay, Mary Jo. I can't imagine logo designers going out the door because of a Wix logo builder. There's always customizations required. Of course. And there are logo generators out there already. And maybe some amazing developer and designer might be able to create software that can generate a few different logos that are actually really nice. Okay. But it's not going to actually, nobody with a serious brand that's trying to grow will quite literally use something like that. Maybe if you're starting up your new site, you have a little like hockey club on the weekend and you need a logo. I had a friend email me and said, or message me, and he's like, hey man, I know you're like a designer. Can you design me a cheap like logo for my BMX club? And I go, dude, like I'm going to have to, for me to do that, like that's way above what you're looking for. Go to like a logo generator, or go to like, I don't know, a cheap, like a student or something, like, or find it free. See if someone's willing to do it for cheap. Go to the Google logo, like cheap logos. Like honestly, for me to do this big brand campaign for your BMX club that's maybe will last the summer, It's me stealing your money. And you're also not my type of client. Maybe there's someone who's looking for like a $200 logo job. But the point is, with Mary Jo's comment, is if you want an actual brand, it's much more. You can't just click generate my brand. Okay, so let's see. Lee says, you're spot on, Brad. If you go to a builder and get them to build a house for you, you don't care about the carpenters, bricklayers, and so on. You just want a house that meets your needs. Exactly. But then if the carpenter was, or the contractor was like, but I need to have I want to do it. I want everything to be custom. It's, I'm trying to draw comparisons here, but you're on the right track there, Lee. The consumer wants their problem solved. They don't care about the way in which they get there. As long as it makes them feel confident that it can get done, it's going to solve the problem, and they trust that it's the right choice. That's what really matters. So from the person from the other side, the service provider, from that side of the table, your opinion on how it gets done doesn't actually matter. If you think it matters so much, then the market's going to make the decision anyway. So if you're like, custom website builders for $300, they need to stay. And then the market goes, yeah, I'm just going to go use Weebly. Thanks. Now, if we're talking about something high value, the entrepreneur can see that and go, what's the problem? What can I do to solve it? And you go from there. Dragola. Have web developers got a job from your course on Udemy? Yes. Mary Jo. Bond, you'll always be learning. Oh, thanks. You're responding to Bond. That's good. Bond, it looks like Mary Jo answered your question. I don't know if I need to reiterate, which your original question was. How are you? Thank you. I'm good. Or I'm well. I'm 24 years old, used to develop websites 2 years ago, but I switched to dropshipping because I need money, but I was thinking about programming. Okay. But now I think back to being a web developer. I'm scared because I'm 24 and a half. I need some time to improve my skills. So are you saying that you think you're too old? Because that's not a problem. You can go, Mary Jo even said you can code at any age. You can learn to code at any age. It's just a skill. You can learn it in a weekend and then get better at it in a week and then get really good at it in 2 months and then get amazing at it in a year. It's just a skill that can be learned for free or for cheap. But it will cost you time and effort. So that's not a problem. Your age is not a problem. You're in fact probably a really good age to learn to code in a specific way in 3 months and go get an entry-level job. There you go. Good luck. Okay, and you need money now. Go find a job. If you need money now, humble yourself and go find a way to make money. Post in your classifieds if you want to build a website for free. If you can learn HTML and CSS and WordPress in a really basic way. You can understand basic website builders in a week, and then post on your Facebook and your classifieds, social media, email a few friends, family members. Hey, I'm in business. I got 2 spots for my business. I'm going to build websites for you. The introductory price is this. You can make $500, $1,000 within a couple of weeks of just doing that. But humble yourself and find a job that will pay for your basic necessities so that you don't have to worry about money while you build your skill set and your business, and then eventually you won't need that job, and then you can grow from there. That's my kind of straightforward, honest answer to that. Okay, so good question, Aaron. We really went all over the place with that one, but there you go. Hope that helps with pricing, and then we went off on a different topic, but yeah. Okay. This one's from Kenny. Question on the Get Freelance Clients course. The Freelancer Focus Pyramid with 3 levels of focus. Which should I put as a primary focus? Web dev or app development? I have interests in both disciplines and have invested considerable resources, paid courses on and both web and app You've invested considerable resources learning web development and app development. Regards from Kenny Lai, new student to Freelancing Freedom Essentials. I appreciate that, Kenny, that you're a student. Really glad to have you on board. What should you put as your primary focus? Okay. What do you like doing the best? What you need to do? I'm actually in the works of revisiting that whole concept of what you should focus on. Actually, in my new course that I'm notifying people about, Launch Your Freelance Business, the first of 4 courses at Freelancing Freedom. I'm revisiting all of those concepts and methodologies and formulas and bringing them into more sophisticated versions of themselves. But regarding what you should focus on, what should you put as your primary focus? First of all, to understand your focus, okay, you need to understand what's your goal. First of all, what do you want? What are you aiming to achieve? What's that? When you close your eyes and just imagine it, what's the point? What's the end goal of you doing this? Okay. Understand that. And okay, I have a few things running through my head. So you need to know the end goal. So in order to know where to start and how to start, you need to know where you want to go. Determine that final destination. Okay? And then what you want to do is work backwards and establish some milestones. So if that's learning a new skill, if that's, talking to certain people or clients or groups of people, or educating yourself in a topic or practicing something or building something. But you first need to know your end goal. So instead of just going, okay, like there's app development and then there's web development. Should I do this one as my first primary and then this one as... This is the employee mindset. What skills should I learn so that I could be hired? If you're looking to get a job somewhere, then sure, double down on app development. If you're going to get a job at an app development agency, double down on web dev. If you're going to, go to a studio that's building websites for campaigns and such. But if you're trying to start a business, what's your end goal? Who are you trying to serve? What do you want to do? What do you like? What do you like? What do you enjoy doing? What are you good at? Your current tool belt. Know the end goal and work backwards. What do you like? What do you love doing? Who do you want to help? And what will they pay for? Imagine those as 3 circles. The intersection between all 3 of those is what you should be focusing on. If that happens to involve app development, sure. But app development is not the solution to the problem, unless you're getting a job at an app development studio. But what I'm talking about here is, and what I'm hoping you're looking for here, since you're joining Freelancing Freedom, is to start a business. So you need to know who you want to serve. Okay, Kenny says, I'm aiming to start a business. Perfect. Unlearn what you've learned. Forget all the background and just first ask yourself, what do you love doing? What would you be excited to get to work on? Who do you want to serve? What type of people? What group of people? You need to choose a small, viable market. Is it a type of business? Is it a group of people? Is it a type of industry? Is it a very specific business or group? And find out what it is that hurts them, that keeps them up at night. What is their problem? What are their pain points? What do they struggle with in their life, in their business, in their community, in their group, in their industry, in their business, in their shop, whatever it is? And how can you solve it? So you need to know what you want and what you love, who you want to serve, and what they'll pay for. Meaning you need to understand their problem so that you can develop a solution that they'll pay for. So from there, you can then ask yourself, now what skills, abilities, education, people do I need in order to deliver that solution? So that's what you need to ask. Too many web developers are in the game of what skills should I learn now and what skills should I go all in on so that I can be a really great web developer. We're like, yeah, okay, fine. But what about your business? I'm like, yeah, but HTML and Java and iOS. What about Swift? And you go, okay, great, but who's your client? Be like, okay, but what about JavaScript? And a lot of people are really good nowadays at this coding language. What do you think about that? I'm like, okay, that's okay, sure. But before we get there, let's talk about what's your business about? Who are you serving? What is their problem? What keeps them up at night? I'm not sure yet, but the more important thing is, I need, what should I learn? What programming language should I learn? Learn them all and then go apply at a job. That's my advice for you if that's the mindset. Now, I'm not trying to pin you down or anything, Kenny. This isn't anything personal towards you. This is for web developers. And I talk about it in the new course, specifically in Module 2, about the mindset and the approach that web developers often take. Some other industries as well, where they're pursuing skills and certifications and designations, and they say, I can't start my business until I have that skill, until I have that certification, until I have this. You're like, no. That's just either you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you want, or you're afraid and you're using that as a way to procrastinate from actually starting and humbling yourself. So, Kenny, I know that your question was, what should I put as my primary focus? What I want to ask you, by answering that question, what I actually want to do is take you about 5 steps before that. Answer, what do you love? What are you passionate about? What do you want to do? What are you really good at? Keep all those things in mind. That's your tool belt. It might involve skills, like hard skills, like app development. It might also involve things like, I'm really good at communicating and connecting with people. People really love talking to me. Or maybe there's something else. What are you good at? What's your tool belt? Now, who do you want to spend your days thinking about and helping? So you're starting a business. A business, and its basic formula is you have a client, they have a problem, and you solve it. That's it. That's all it is. You don't need the internet. You don't need a certain programming language. You don't need anything. You just need to know that basic formula first, and then you build from there. So what are you good at? What do you love doing? What is your tool belt? Okay, now you're walking into the game with some basic tools and skills. Maybe they're really advanced. Sounds like you got some really advanced skills. Okay? Then find out who you want to serve. Who do you love? Who do you want to spend time with? What group of people do you want to help? What small viable market, small meaning a small group of a specific type of people who all share commonality in some way. Viable meaning there's enough of them that will be able to sustain a business in the market. Who are those people? Because you're going to spend every day, all day, thinking and working to help them. So you better really like that group of people. I like you guys. I feel good getting up, coming down to the studio, and thinking about how I can make your lives better. If I didn't like you and what you represent, I would be miserable. Okay? And then what is their problem? So you have skills, basic skills and abilities. Couple that with, keep that in mind. And then who do you want to serve? What do they struggle with now? What hurts them? What keeps them up at night? What is their magic wand? If they had a magic wand and they solved their biggest problem, what is that? Now, how can you solve it? Using the skills and abilities that you already have, maybe some that you might want to add, or maybe you want to hire somebody else to help you. You're a business owner after all, and then go from there. So some comments happening in here. Elias says, Aaron and Mary Jo, I'm ahead of you both. I built apps for AOL Messenger. Oh, funny. Aaron, yes, learn Swift because Aaron needs a Swift developer, I'm assuming. Anyone who knows Swift, contact Aaron. But I thought you already had a Swift developer. Anyway, Mary Jo, in the new course is there info on how to manage projects coming in? Have this great problem of having a lot of projects coming my way. How do I get a queue in order and push out projects instead of turning clients away because of my packed schedule? Yes, Mary Jo, as Alea mentioned, in the new course, the 7th module is about orchestrating projects. And I'm going to try and structure it and create. I've been writing it and developing it in a way that it's not just specific to one type of industry, one type of skill set. In the past, I've just trying to give you a way to formulate a web design project, but I'm actually trying to elevate above that. Web developers should be able to understand how to work their projects. Coaches should be able to understand how to schedule and manage their projects. People who are, in various different industries, they should be able to find commonality and go, okay, this is how I should apply that to my business. So yes. Aaron, it was just a joke. You got one. Cool. I thought so. Good joke. I really laughed. Okay. So Kenny, I hope that answered your question. I know I didn't just say, you know what, dude, app development, go all in on app development. Cause that's the one, dude. That's the one. What I'm saying is, as a Freelancing Freedom Essential student, I really value what you get from this journey. And I care about how much value you can get and how good you can become, how much you can level up, and how successful you can be in your pursuit and in this journey. So I want you to know that it's not about what skill or discipline you need to be going all in on, because that's an employee. If you can show me the job you're applying to, this is a job application, by the way, I'm holding. It's a scroll. It's an old school scroll. Okay, hear ye. And it shows the job description and all the things that it wants. I would say, okay, Kenny, do you see all those things that it's saying? Learn all of those right away. Get really good at it, at least 20% of that, and then say, I can do all those things plus more, and I'm a really great guy, and I'll go get you coffee, and you're going to love me. Great. There you go. You go off and get a job. And that's fine. You need employees. Employees are great. If we didn't have employees, then there would be no businesses to run, except for just small little solo businesses. You wouldn't have big companies, which is most businesses that have more than one person. Anyway, I'm going down a little thing there. So, not hating on employees. Employees are great. What I'm saying though is, if you want to start a business, stop thinking like an employee. And if you're an employee, don't think like a business owner. Because that was me, and I got in trouble, and I stepped on toes. When you're an employee thinking like an entrepreneur, they're like, get in line. That's not your job. You're not the director. That's not your salary. That's above your pay grade. Okay? But if you're wanting to start a business, stop thinking like an employee. Amen, D-Rad, says Kate. Thanks, sister. Awesome sauce. Lots of awesome sauce going around. Everybody likes some awesome sauce. So Kenny, that's my answer to that. I want you to go get from this. I want you to think about that. What do you love? What are you good at? What's your tool belt? Who do you want to serve? Who do you love? Who do you want to spend your days thinking about and worrying about and helping? What do they struggle with? How can you solve their problem? Develop a solution for them, whatever it is, and then sell it to them. Serve them selflessly and without restraint. Be the best for them. And no Wix or Weebly site will ever be able to replace you, because you're not delivering tools to them. You're not delivering a commodity. You're delivering value by solving their problem. And that can apply to anyone's business here. And your question is, freelance consultant considered an entrepreneur? Technically, an entrepreneur, if you want to get specific about the term, is somebody who owns more than one business. So an entrepreneur is like someone who goes, I have this business, and I have this business, and I have this business, and that one is self-sufficient. This one, I'm still got my fingers in there trying to make sure everything's working. I'm kind of doing all the hard work here, but this one's looking promising. This one failed, but I've liquidated that, and I'm going to. So that an entrepreneur is actually somebody who like sits above and beyond multiple businesses, more than one business. That's technically an entrepreneur. Freelancer is somebody who's this free agent who is able to work for different clients, different companies, different agencies on a subcontract, on a, different contract basis. So that's an freelancer. Consultant is somebody I like to think of as somebody who is an elevated freelancer, somebody who is actually not just providing kind of commodity solutions or just like, the client says, this is exactly what I need. Can you take care of that for me? And you go, yes, I can do that. Freelancers start that way. It's a humble position to start at, but you have to start that way because then eventually as you grow, you start to get to say no. You say, I don't want to work on that project. I don't care about that type of person or that type of business rather. That sounded rude of me. And I want to solve these types of problems and I'm really good at it and I'm gaining a reputation. So people start wanting you to help them and you get to decide if they're fit and you command higher prices. You know what you're worth, you know what to do, and you've got it dialed in. That's a consultant, somebody who has higher value, commanding higher prices because of that value, knows who it is they serve, how they serve them, and how to deliver unlike anyone else. So that was my answer there, Kenny, to consultant and entrepreneur. If you're a freelancer and you have, you work for other businesses, you do contract work for other businesses, you do subcontract work, you have your own clients, technically you're not an entrepreneur until you have more than one business. So, that's not a bad thing. Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. But what would be nice is for you to elevate, first of all, into a freelancer, start there, and then elevate from there into a high-value consultant. And then from there, incorporate entrepreneurial strategies within your business and your consultancy so that you can have other people and software and systems in place that you can go, this is a really high value business. I can actually step away from it a little bit and let it do its thing. And I'm going to start this thing over here, or I'm going to incorporate a new product or service within that business. And that's taking the entrepreneurial approach. Let's see here. Mary Jo, watch out for entrepreneurs. Yes, there are an abundance of people who have great ideas or think they have great ideas, but will never take action on it. Let's see here. Chris says, what if a potential client needs something outside of your scope? What would you suggest? Learning that skill or referring them? If it's something that you can do yourself, and it's worth your time and you want to do it, then do it yourself. If you need to go off and learn a new skill like crazy, just hire someone to do it. Do it under your own business. And so instead of saying, oh, I can't do that, you can find somebody else. Outsource it, delegate it, hire a virtual assistant, hire a peer or a colleague and say, hey, I need your expertise to build X, Y, and Z. What's your cost? They go, it'll be $1,000. And be like, okay. You go back to the client and say, we can handle it for you. That's an extra line item for $1,500. You take a $500 amount on top of that for project management, for recruiting the right person, for additional costs and contingency. And there you go. But if they're saying something that's way outside of the scope of what you want to offer as a business, then you could say, no, we don't do that. Here's a better suggestion, or here's a person that can handle it for you. Okay. Leah, I freelanced for 7 years and only started consulting last year. Love this explanation. Awesome. Exactly. That was the same for me. I freelanced 2009, 10, 11, 12, so 4 years. And then I started actually turning into a consultant, higher value with systems in place, going full time. So it's kind of like you cut your teeth as a freelancer by humbling yourself and starting from the bottom. And that's good. That's you building your base. And then you elevate into a consultant. And from there, you can establish some systems and strategies, some products, passive income, automation. And then you can use some entrepreneurial strategies to, get your business running on semi-autopilot with other people helping you in software, while you improve it, reinvest in it, or maybe start something as well, in addition to. Bond says, my plan is learn the basics of web dev, then apply for a job as a junior developer after 1 or 2 years, start my own business. What do you think? Cool. Sounds good, man. Learn the basics of web dev, apply for a job as a junior dev. That sounds good. That's reasonable. You can do that within 3 months, depending on your geographic location, but yep. And after 1 or 2 years, start your own business. Why don't you start your own business alongside that? Take on clients while you learn your skill, get a job, and freelance on the side. Grow your freelance business until the point where you go, this is really working. or it's not working, I need to pivot or just forget about it. But in my case, my ideal scenario for you would be to grow your business, do the right thing, solve problems for people you want to solve the problems for, and then grow that to the point where you can go, I don't need my full-time job anymore. I'm going to start exiting from that and going full-time on the thing that's working. Chris, thank you, Brad, and thank you, Aaron and Alea. Absolutely, you're most welcome. Cool. Okay, folks, that was kind of it for the questions that were submitted. And I answered most of what I think was in here in the live chat. I do want to let you know about something. But Kenny just jumped in there and said, so the normal path is from freelance, then to consultant, and finally an all-out entrepreneur. Excuse me. Yes. But if you want to leave it at consultant, you can have a consultancy and your one business is your consultancy. And a consultancy is nothing to balk at. You can have a very wildly profitable and successful consultancy where you are the director of the operation and you have, people working within your organization, and you solve problems, and you have, a couple products that deliver high value and bring in significant revenue. You do one-to-one coaching and things like that. You can have a very fruitful consultancy. So it's not to say that the entrepreneur is the ultimate end goal. That's not necessarily the case. But what I want from you, it's more so like you shift into an entrepreneur if you want to. Because some people don't want to have multiple businesses. It's a lot of work to juggle more than one business. If you could focus on one thing that works really well and give it all your effort and make it the best it could ever be, then you're actually going to be a lot better off than if you're the entrepreneur who has multiple businesses and has to divide the focus, and none of them are working that well. You could be a consultant that is way leagues above an entrepreneur who's just barely making it through. So the normal path would be start as a freelancer, humbling yourself, cutting your teeth, growing, elevating into a consultant, and having things systemized, optimized, automated, maybe a team member. You don't have to be a big consultancy. You can be a consultancy of 2. You can be a consultancy of 1. But as you grow, incorporating delegation and other people is key to scaling and removing yourself from the operation. Allow for software to automate aspects that humans don't need to take care of. And then you can have a business that runs on semi-autopilot with you just slightly rolling the ball or tipping it in certain directions that you want it to go. Working on the business versus working in the business is a common phrase you might hear. Okay. Okay, not to mention the tax nightmare. Yes, Aaron, for entrepreneurship. But you know what? If you have a really good setup as an entrepreneur, things are working. My accountant likes to say, Brad, I want to see you paying a lot of taxes. Do you want to know why? Because that tells me that you're doing well. So if you're paying a lot of taxes and you're doing the right things, of course, if you're just mindlessly paying taxes and you're overpaying here and you're not taking advantage of certain benefits over here, you're not incorporating over there and blah, 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 then okay, you got to dial that in first. But then if you're paying a lot of taxes, that means you're contributing a lot of value to the market and you're growing and you're being rewarded for it. And your small fee is to pay that tax bill. Is she getting a cut? Mary Jo, I'm assuming you're talking about accountant? Not a cut. I'll just pay her fee. She charges whatever her fee is for corporate tax and personal tax and anything else like that. And I just say, here's your bill. She's a consultant herself. She runs her own corporation. Or she's an entrepreneur, actually. She has multiple businesses. But anyway, enough about my accountant. So yeah, there we go. Mary Jo, just joking. But that's the thing. That's how I can justify by delegation specifically and automation, but delegation, handing off to somebody else to do something for you. If you value your time at $100 an hour and you spend 1 hour doing a task that somebody else could do, you just took $100 and flushed it down the toilet. That's exactly what you did. You might as well have done that. Now, think about this. In that 1 hour, you also have lost opportunity cost. This is right from the new course. This is like a little cherry picking from one of the lessons in the new course. So if you value your time at $100 an hour and you spend 1 hour doing that thing that somebody else could do, or worse yet, software could do for you, you just dumped $100 down the toilet. But worse yet, on top of that, the lost opportunity cost you need to take into consideration. This is where the entrepreneur mindset comes in handy. You go, in 1 hour, what could I have done that would have contributed to the bottom line, grew my business, or solved a problem, or done something to move the needle? You could have made a couple calls. You could have done a sales webinar if you were at that stage of your business. You would have created a product. You could have wrote a sales letter for your email. You could have put up a website with a basic product on it. There's a number of things you could do in 1 hour. And this is just 1 hour that could lead to, directly or indirectly, you making money. Let's say $1,000. So not only did you pay $1,000 to do a task you shouldn't have done, but you actually lost potential $1,000. That's just a scenario that you might want to keep in mind. Now imagine if you did 10 hours of stuff per week that you didn't need to do personally, that somebody else could have done or software could have done for you. 10 hours, and you value your time at $100 an hour. What's that, $1,000? That you just dumped down the toilet, and also 10 hours that you could have crushed it and created something, built something, wrote something, made calls, went to offices, wrote up a sales letter, created proposals, done something, sold something that would have made you, in that 10 hours, significant revenue, either directly or indirectly down the line. So whenever you do something, think about how you can either eliminate it, get rid of it. Do I even really need to do this? Or am I just thinking I need to do this because it's just busy work? Can somebody else do it for me? Okay, that person's going to do it for me. What's their hourly rate? What's it going to cost? What's it going to cost me to have them do it? Oh, $50. Perfect. I would have done it for $90 because I'm paying $100 just to do it myself. So great. Sounds good. Thank you for your time. Take care of that for me. Let me know when it's done. Boom. I'm working on something else. Automation. Is this something software could do? Tracking expenses, tracking mileage, project management, notifications, client communication, and nurturing. Those are all things that can be automated by software very easily, very cheap. So your subscription to that service or that software or whatever, if it's way more than what it is that you would be spending with your time to handle it yourself, then buy it, subscribe to it, and make it work for you. Okay. Kenny says, is there a Slack channel for Freelancing Freedom Essentials? Yes, which is a great segue, by the way. Alea, you were probably waiting for me to do this. Freelancing Freedom Essential students. Okay. As we move forward with the new FreelancingFreedom.com, which is going to be the 4 new courses, masterclass students are now a part of the new launch course, which I'm so far hearing some nice feedback from. I'm hoping you guys are enjoying Module 1. So far, seeing how serious I'm taking this. Essential students, and to simplify moving forward, right now we have like an Essentials Slack space, a Masterclass Slack workspace, Facebook groups for both of them, and it's just complicated. The Essentials group just gets neglected. I don't even spend time there anymore, honestly. I just spend time in the Slack workspace and Facebook group for the Masterclass students, and that's not fair because you paid to be a part of Essentials. So bonus for you Essential students. And also bonus for you masterclass students. Here's how. We're combining it all. There's going to be one Freelancing Freedom mastermind. So masterclass students, you don't need to do anything. You just now will have more people within the group that you can communicate, collaborate with, and work with. And the essential students, you will actually now get help and value from the community that I created, which will be the mastermind. It's just so much easier to manage instead of me splitting my time everywhere and not giving anyone the right time of day or any group the right time of day. You now get to just be a part of the mastermind. You're a paying student at FreelancingFreedom.com, whether you paid me $100 for something or $1,000. You get to become part of the mastermind, okay? Less workspaces, less stuff, less mess, less noise, okay? Now, that said, the masterclass students or say students who are buying specific courses as we move forward, especially if that course is more expensive or really specific, you might go, okay, well, how does that work? We'll have specific channels for you. And specifically, we're going to have locked channels. So if you just have a masterclass, right now there's a locked masterclass channel that we can invite you to. If you're in that course and you want to talk specifically about masterclass in a private manner, you can do that. But also you can just probably talk publicly and share the value anyway. So it's just more of putting it all together. I think it just is more valuable for everyone that way. It's a huge value bump for essential students. And it's a value bump for the masterclass students because now you actually have a larger community and my attention will be focused on one spot versus 4. So there we go. That is the news for for Freelancing Freedom today. I finished writing module 2, which was 10 lessons. You can imagine how much content that is because for those of you in module 1, 9 lessons, you can see how significant that is. So module 2 is 10 lessons. I finished writing it. I finished filming 9.5 lessons. So meaning I have 1 lesson and a little bit less of 1 lesson. So 1.5 lessons left to film. Those will be edited tomorrow and the beginning of next week. A little bit slower next week because it's reading week here where we are. So I won't be working as intensely, but I'll still be editing videos. Module 2 will be released to you within the next, I would say, 10 days. And then we're just going to keep that progress going like that. And I'll let you know of any new changes and anything like that. So that's my update today. Thank you for your time with office hours today. I said I was going to be less time, but no, I was an hour again. And it's just how it's going to go. You guys have good questions. You always seem to throw in good questions as we go. So that's awesome. I appreciate it. Happy Valentine's Day. Go spend some time with your lover or your friends or your kids or your pets. Lots of love coming from this way. Thank you for your time. I'm excited for this new journey with Freelancing Freedom. Totally honored to have you be a part of it. Happy Thursday. Thank you. Go do something fun. Happy Valentine's Day. God bless. Bye-bye now.